I think when it all comes down to it, we've crossed a Rubicon, and that is, you know, people who are looking at various points of criticism, great, you know, like no problem. The critics need to come in. But when it all comes down to it, what we all know is we can't stay here. This has to happen, and we're determined to get it done.
Does that mean, like, damn the torpedoes? This means even if this plan isn't perfect, even if it has all kinds of problems in it, like we've seen earlier this week reported that there would be some people who would be paying more than 100% in taxes, it's okay? It's better than what we have now?
Look, no. More than 100% in taxes is not okay. It's not damn the torpedoes full speed ahead, but it is this, and I gave this analogy to a guy at home. I said, you know when you return a car to the airport and you drive over that spiky thing and it says don't back up because damage is caused? That's exactly where we are right now. Right. Both sides have crossed over, and now we're determined to get it done. And look, there's not a representation here by anybody who's clear thinking that this is a perfect bill, but it's a good bill, right. Two good bills, and we're trying to make two good bills better.
I'm glad you were amused by our conversation, but I get...
Oh, my. And can I just tell you, as we're putting the tax bill together, the concept of... talent agents, you're right, never came to mind.
No,
and we never thought of anybody named...
How about this, Congress? Every day I read about what a huge giveaway this is to the wealthy, and I got to be tarred and feathered with that every day. And my taxes are probably going up 20%. So thanks for
welcome,
that. So
you know, welcome to the politics of
so
2017.
Reagan cut taxes for everyone because that's the way you do it. You think it's fine that it goes up 10 to 20% on certain people that happen to be, you know...
Look, what I'm telling you is in the political reality of today, when you're dealing with a complicated House and a complicated Senate with complicated reconciliation rules, you got to make a decision. Do we wring our hands and moan and groan and say we can't get this done? Or do we say, let's move forward? And we're obviously making a decision to say let's move forward.
Here's my question to you, which is very different, which is, do you look at the tax plan or at taxes in America as any kind of representation of values in America, which is to say, some sense, if it's going to be some kind of progressive tax system, that it's done in some way that feels generally fair, where people say to themselves, you know what, the guy who's getting paid the most is going to pay more than the guy who's getting paid not just the least, but even the guy who's getting paid a little bit less than that. Because what's happening here is that you have a system where, frankly, the true outliers in terms of performance, people who are really making the most, the true billionaires in the world, are actually going to pay materially less. And what you've done is now raised the taxes on people who are doing really, really well, but not nearly as well as some of those.
Or people who rely on medical expenses.
Look, the parsing here is amazing to me in the nature of this debate.
It's not a parsing story.
No, but here, let me just make my point. Because I've heard from some people with incredible wealth that are saying, you're killing me. I've heard some people, and then you're making a representation that some people with incredible wealth are getting away like bandits. Here's my
what about
point.
Carried interest?
You make a change of this magnitude in the tax code, and you're right. I mean, moving forward, people are going to be reconfiguring and reallocating and trying to process through how it is that they deal with this. But the notion of there's sort of this. Just to speak to it, I think in the nature of the discussion, on the one hand, I mean, listening to your discussion before the break, on the one hand, you're rooting for this to get done because you know it's the right thing to do. You know our tax codes.
Corporations, yes. Yeah. But the individual side is a mess.
But you know that you cannot deal with
Chairman,
business.
Just explain just because it's a flashpoint. Maybe call it a dog whistle, call it whatever you want. But it represents, I think, what to the extent there are people frustrated with what's going on. Just do carried interest with us for a second.
Why leave that in?
Why leave that in? That's an easy one, easy peasy to say.
I don't think necessarily.
Why not?
I don't think necessarily because here I represent suburban Chicago. So you got a bunch of deals out in suburban Chicago that are not the deals that are these marquee things that are getting everybody's attention. Right. These are modest real estate deals. You blow up carried interest, you blow up the whole structure.
So you want to protect your constituents, but again.
You bet your life I want to protect my constituents. That's absolutely my responsibility.
What about people who use medical deductions? Maybe some of your less wealthy constituents who use medical deductions and who are going to be facing very high increases in their own pay that are coming up. These could be seniors who have a lot riding on this. This could be people who have children who
Right.
use therapies.
Fair point. So what we're trying to do is to mesh these two bills, and everybody is eyes wide open. That's one of the subjects that the conferees are trying to navigate through and deal with. So there was more of a design, in my opinion, to the House bill as it was structured, and we've talked about this in literally in years past ever since Camp's draft, as Dave Camp as chairman, and then when Ryan was chairman, and now with Brady.
Okay,
the Senate has a different feel to it, and the different feel from the Senate is less structural or less holistic in terms of a design. And the Senate feels to me like, hey, how do you get 51 votes on a bill? What we're trying now to do is to take something that I'm arguing is designed with something that was more constructed and trying to reconcile those two things.
Right.
And the representation I'm making to you is, I think we get that done, and I think it's signed into law by Christmas.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.